Welcome to Nevertheless Podcast with Bidemi Mark-Mordi, a show dedicated to organic leaders and leaderpreneurs. Today, you would learn how to discover your essence and live more powerfully.
Hi, it's week 2 of the Alpha Artificial Intelligence Fusion series on the Nevertheless show. My name is Bidemi Mark-Mordi, and I have again with me my coach and friend and sister, Anna McCoy. And in the previous episode, we were talking about the introduction of artificial intelligence, also known as AI. And what we had established is that AI is value neutral. We have established that it cannot replace us, because we're still the superior creation of God. And we have agreed that there are rules that guide the use of AI and stuff like that. If you missed the first episode, it will be a good decision if you go back to go and watch it so that you can catch up with the conversation that we begin to have today. Today, as we continue this series, we want to look at, the rules that govern AI. We want to look at how did AI even come to be? And then finally, we want to look at what's God's intention for all of this. So I would like to start from the fact that God is sovereign. And because God is sovereign, He's in charge of the earth. And because God is in charge of the earth, nothing manifests in this earth that God doesn't know about. The God you and me serve as leaders in this space, leaders of faith in the marketplace and all the places we play, the God we serve or the God we worship is not a God that plays catch-up. We always seem to forget that our God is all-powerful, all-knowing, all-present. Is always present, always powerful, always knowing. So our God is omnipotent, omniscient, whatever, something. I forget what that third expression is. But the point is that God did not get caught unaware by AI. So it's not in 2022 when they released the first module or whatever of AI that God woke up and said, oh, I lost it. I fell asleep. And then these people have snuck something in. Nothing gets in the earth without God say so. And so here's what you need to know. If AI got on the earth, it's because it is God's gift to mankind. Now, do people take God's gift and corrupt them? Absolutely. Otherwise, we wouldn't have commandments like thou shalt not kill in the Bible, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not bear false witness. It is because human beings can take what God is created and meant for good and deploy it negatively. But coach, tell me, what are the rules that govern AI? Before we went on the break, you did share one, and I want you to begin from that.
Yes. So when we think about AI and God's creativity, we have to really think about the people that have been given these ideas. And that's what you're sharing, because it's really just a representation of our cognitive capacity put into another form to make it do it faster.
Let me decode that. It came from your brain.
Right.
The human brains. These things would not exist if God did not put the gray matter between our ears.
Yes.
Go on.
Yes. And so when we think about working with AI in the AI field, we do have some requirements. And the very first thing is do no harm. And we mentioned that, but do no harm. And what that means is that when we think about a international policy, and there are international policies. In fact, if you are interested in a company, you should go to their website and see what their AI ethics are. But in general, the first thing is transparency in AI decision making. And what that really means is that we want to know and we want to be able to trace back where that AI got the information
from. Oh, wow.
Because once we're able to do that as regular people or anybody that's using AI, we want to know what the source is.
Yes.
Okay, so that's number one. Number two is privacy and protection, data security. Now, it's really important as a part of these ethics, whoever is programming them, designing them, whatever the case may be, it is the responsibility of that organization to make sure that your privacy is not violated. What that looks like, for example, in the case of, let's say, breast cancer, we all, go to the doctor, we take mammography exams. And so now there are millions or possibly billions of film of women's breasts that they can take that information and use it for AI, but they have to scrape all the personal data.
Details.
Right? They can't have my name on it, can't have your name, and men have some of the same issues, by the way. So that organization that is, first of all, creating the data set is what we would call it. They are responsible to ensure that no one's private information is exposed. The next one is fairness and non-discrimination. Now, this is truly important, especially when things become more automated. When we go to look for a job, now you look for a job, you go through a system that measures if you have the keywords. It doesn't matter whether you're male or female, it doesn't matter. But it's looking for certain keywords for the job description they want to fit, where it's the responsibility of that company that's using that. In fact, in the US, they are passing laws now to inform people or potential employees that they are using this technology in order to sort through people. Now, and they're also requiring those that are creating it to make sure that there's no bias in that data, which means if you're a female, this is an example, if you're a female and you're trying to get a tech job, historically, males have been in tech. So on your resume, you might have something that says that you were teaching young girls or females how to code. Well, the system is automatically going to knock you out because you're not a prime candidate if it was programmed in a biased way.
Yes.
Okay. So, and then we have accountability and responsibility that you have to put together what we call these AI, boards that come together to make sure that we're accountable in our space. Now, not that everybody does it. The fourth one is to use AI where it's human-centric, meaning that it's going to be for our highest and our best good and for our best use. So don't create it for evil. And then the last thing is sustainability and society well-being. This is extremely important. In countries that are not fully developed, automated, industrialized, because people will come into those communities and they will do certain things to get data or to use AI, and then it leaves that community or that village in a way that is injured in some way from the technology. It could injure the people because of what they're trying to. I mean, there are many things that are discrete to a certain place. And now AI can be extremely helpful to improve their well-being, improve their health. But if you go into the space and you create it and you expose people because of culture, right? Then it's not sustainable, and it's not for the society's well-being. And so those are just 6 of the things that we want to keep people thinking about.
The point in all of this is that even the purveyors and the people in the cutting edge in the front of all of this are thinking about the ethics and the morality. Maybe not the morality, but the ethics.
Yeah, well,
even
the morality
as well.
Absolutely. Don't exclude it, because morality is to do the right thing.
The ethics and the morality of the use and the deployment of artificial intelligence. We're going to go on a break. When we come back, I'll be bringing a biblical perspective to this for you to see that we're not far away from where God is always shepherded us and wanted us to go. And if we would just not forget our core foundations, then this will be important tools that will bring us to huge opportunities if we would take them and use them well. So please don't go away. We'll soon be back. God bless you. It's still the Nevertheless Show.
Are you seeking to clarify your purpose and profit from it? Then get into Purpose University this year. It's a 10-week e-course for people of faith who seek to clarify their purpose and profit from it. The DNA of purpose has been put together to help you understand what purpose is about and also help you discover what your journey of purpose looks like. Register today at yourpurposeu.org, where Bidemi Mark-Mordi would hold your hands so you can discover your purpose and live a more powerful life. In a world filled with many fears and discouragement, life often becomes a burden. For those who know the way, life is just simple. Do not worry, you're not alone on this life's journey, as Bidemi Mark-Mordi shares powerful insights and principles from her everyday work and life experiences in her book, Nevertheless. Nevertheless is a book designed to encourage and equip you to face life with courage, hope, and determination. Get a copy of Nevertheless and other books written by Bidemi Mark-Mordi, like The Wisdom of the Seed, Honor, The Theology of Work, and so much more from a bookstore nearby, or call 080-905-63555 or send an email to bidemi@bidemimarkmordi.com to place your order. I guarantee you will make it. Nevertheless.
Welcome back. It's still the Nevertheless show, a show for organic leaders and leaderpreneurs. I have still with me in the studio Coach Anna McCoy, my friend and my sister, and we're talking all things artificial alpha intelligence. We're looking for how leaders like you who are people of faith would navigate their way through this thing that has become the pink elephant in the room, that whether we like it or not, it's showing up in all of our spheres of life, and we're wondering whether it's going to kick us out of the word. So this is not alien invasion. It's not coming to get us. We have established that already. Mm-hmm. Before we went on break, we started to talk about the rules that govern AI, and you gave us 6 of them. Mm-hmm. And now I want us to come back to the foundation. Because when you come back to the foundation of why do we have the 10 commandments, all of the things that are written in the book of Exodus, Leviticus, Deuteronomy, Numbers, all of these things are there in the Bible. And even when you move over to the New Testament, where Jesus begins to say that the 2 commandments, there are 2 commandments. One, and the second one is like it. I will love the Lord my God with all my heart, with all my soul, with all my mind, and with all my strength. And I will love my neighbor as myself. When I bring all of those things together, I usually would say that God's highest intention for us is that we be good human beings.
Yes.
Before being born again, before being tongue speaking, before being Holy Spirit possessed or infilled, and all of those things, what God wants us to be is that we are good human beings. Now, of course, I know, because I've read my Bible, that being a good human being is not enough to make me a candidate for heaven. But it is a start. Because even if I got born again and I gave my life to Jesus and I live my life just being a bad human, it's going to boomerang ultimately, isn't it? So because that's God's original intention for us, that we be good human beings, here's the point that I'm trying to make. That it's the reason why even those in this cutting edge of this industry are thinking about the ethics of AI, are talking about how to use it, are talking about placing parameters and boundaries around the use and the deployment of AI, such that when it becomes something that is harmful, it will not be because of AI itself, it will be because of the people who are utilizing AI. And the beauty of this for me is that this doesn't have to be the first person who wrote the code for AI. Right. This can be me who decides to take it and use it for something else. Absolutely. I can use it to lie on my resume.
Yes.
So that's not on the coder. That's on me, isn't it?
Absolutely.
I can use it to pretend that I'm something that I am not.
Yes.
I can use it to plagiarize books. Yes. That's not on the coder. That's on me.
Right.
So in the end, here's the thing that I know. God is giving us a gift.
Yes.
We must take responsibility from the gift. So the way I'm looking at it, I'm saying to myself, it means that God has put it on the earth. I have a decision to make. And my decision is not whether I will use it or not.
Right.
Because that's what we think our main decision is. Will I use it? Will I not use it? That's not your decision because you're already using it. The decision you should be making is how will I use it?
Yes.
Because if you know how you'd use it, then the chances are higher that you'll be able to, that the world will benefit from it. Now, if we go to Genesis 1:28, where it talks about the mandate that God gave to man to be fruitful, to multiply, to replenish, to subdue, and to have dominion, you'll find that these 5 levels of mandate also have filters. You know, when people say to me, how do I know that what I'm doing is what God would have me do? Because when we begin to talk about purpose and living purpose-driven or purpose-filled lives, people are always confused. They think, God created me to be a doctor. If I'm not a doctor, then I can no longer be anything. But that's not really what the guiding principle for purposeful living. Purposeful living is to take wherever you are and use it to glorify God. So the filters for me are, does it glorify God? Is it beneficial for another person? Will it harm another person? Is it easy for me to use? And will it enhance me as a person? So these are the 5 filters. Again, does it glorify God? Because if I take AI and I use it to defraud you, it stops glorifying God. It doesn't matter how smart I did, it stops glorifying God. Does it benefit another person? If it's not beneficial to you, then what's the point? Because we said AI for good. Yes. So it means that for societal well-being, right?
Yes.
So it means that it must be beneficial to society for it to count. Now, some people will say it's beneficial, but there is also another filter that I like to put up, and that is, does it harm? Because sometimes it can be harmful and beneficial at the same time.
Right.
But when it fulfills this standard of being good human beings that we're talking about, it will not harm, it will benefit. Because there is no justification for harming others, isn't it? If we're not in a war, it does not make sense to try to kill people. Does that make sense? So is it, does it glorify God? Is it beneficial? Does it harm? The 4th one is, does it enhance me? Does it enhance me? And yes, and the 5th one is it easy for me to use it? Because if it is easy for me to use it, then it won't take a lot out of me to be able to deploy it. And when we talk about the speed and everything that it gives, we have been tinkering with this thing since you came, and I'm so much more open to the many things that can happen in the line of my work, still maintaining the integrity of God's call on my life.
Yes.
But to be able to serve more people in multiple places using the same thing that I have always had. So it's taking limits off of me. It's expanding the scope of how many people I can serve with what it is that I am serving with. So the purveyors of AI may not put these filters that I have expressed. But as a child of God and as a leader who is a person of faith, these filters are the filters that you should integrate. Whether you are training your team to use it, or you're using it personally, make sure that they understand these filters. And the moment these filters are there, then it becomes just the same way the phone is safe.
Yes.
Because I remember the first set of mobile phones we got, we were told not to use them near fuel stations, that they would explode. And we did hear that a few exploded like that. But because of that danger, the manufacturers have updated their technology over time. And right now, it's no longer a danger to walk into a fuel station, at least not at the level it was before, to utilize it. The point is this: you are the only one who can hold yourself responsible and accountable for how you deploy artificial intelligence. Again, don't forget, and I'm going to say this every time we come here, this series, you are already using AI. You were just unconsciously using it. What we're trying to encourage you to do is to be conscious in your use of it, because that way you will not make mistakes, you will not harm people with it. And then you do so much more good in utilizing it. Coach, would you like to add something before I close this episode off?
Sure. And just as we talked about those 6 items for AI, the people who build AI,
Yes.
those 6 areas, talking about transparency and privacy, it's the same for the consumer.
Yes.
Like, guard your privacy. Like, when you use each one of these tools, what we've done is we've given up our privacy for free things. Like, get the free version. Well, when you get the free version, it's not really free, because you're giving up your data, you're giving up how you're using that. So even if you're using like a Chat GPT, go into your settings, turn off those ticks that says, don't use my data to train your data. So that's your personal privacy.
Yes.
And so it's also our responsibility when we're using it to be honest, as you've said, not copywriting other people's materials. And I know that what I have seen happen in this generation of creators, this younger generation, is there is no reference to knowledge, where that knowledge came from. We know that they don't have the experience.
Yes.
So, but they don't cite the source, and they will begin to teach these principles, but they're teaching them out of your book, out of my book, and others past, but they will not say, this is a quote from Bidemi Mark-Mordi or Anna McCoy from the book. And so I think what you'll start to see, some of those rules start to come back,
those
where people, because I can go to AI now and write in the thought process of Einstein.
Yes.
Do you understand? So we have to develop some type of consumer ethics that we all would live by and honor each other.
So here's the challenge. If you're a person of faith, for instance, and you are in the legal profession, rather than shy away from it, isn't this an opportunity to incorporate the boundaries of your faith and juxtapose it on law, so that we can find a safe landing for both the consumers and the manufacturers of this intelligence? Isn't that something to do? You see, the point is, the moment we begin to shy away and we begin to run, then even the opportunities that exist within it, we will not be able to embrace and use.
Yeah, and I think ultimately, if you're a person of character and integrity, when you read a book, you take that knowledge and you act upon the knowledge. If you're not presenting the knowledge as if it's yours, you're just carrying it out in your life. And I think for people who are listening to this, we have what it takes. If we are people of belief and value, we're going to honor in these spaces. And that's really I think the most important thing. And just think AI for good. Whatever I do with this, do it for the highest good. Also advocate for the rights of other people in these spaces. When you start to see it, if you feel like people are being violated in any kind of way with their information, their privacy, be a person that really, you need to research, if you're working with companies that are using AI, to make sure they're not biased in their collection of their training data. Like, where did they get this information? You have a right to ask those questions. So I think those are some of the things that I would encourage people to do.
Thank you, Coach. We've
welcome.
Come to the end of another episode. And next week when we come, we will continue to have conversations about how we can fuse alpha intelligence with artificial intelligence. Coach, I think that next week when we come, we should look at the genius of God and how this impacts upon this intelligence that we're talking about.
Excellent.
Remember, it's the Nevertheless Show, a show for organic leaders and leaderpreneurs. If you discover purpose, you will live a powerful life. So please remember to follow me on social media. It's Bidemi Mark-Mordi, and on all the platforms is at Bidemi Mark-Mordi, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, X, Threads, and such like. I think the only thing I don't have is TikTok, and I'm not sure I'm coming there in a while.
Just go to TikTok. It's all right.
Anyhow, but you can follow me in on those platforms if you have loved the conversation that you have heard. And please remember to share and bring others in to experience this. For me, I'm seeing an unveiling of a new lease on life and an evolving for us to be able to do life at levels that we did not know we could do life. Next week, when we'll come back, like I said, we'll be talking about the genius of God and AI. Please keep a date with us next week. God bless you and bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Nevertheless. For more information and resources, call 080-90563-555 or send an email to bidemi@bidemimark-mordi.com. Don't forget, discovering your purpose helps you live more powerfully.